Good evening and welcome back to the Mancunian Way. My apologies, Graeme Bailey will be with us in a minute. I just wanted to, for some reason, he's been sent the wrong link, which is a bit weird. I don't know what's happened there. I do apologise. So hopefully Graeme will join us in a minute. We'll say some hellos for the time being. One thing, please be respectful to Graeme. You may not like some of the things that get said or heard, but he is a straight shooter. He's very honest and he says things how they are. I find him very refreshing, actually. I've listened to him on Loaded Mag with Pete and the gang. Really refreshing on there. And he's just honest. But really seems to be really top guy. Thank you, Harry. So I have sent Graeme the link now, the correct one. So I don't know. Hopefully she will be with us in a moment. Let's have a look. I'm just messaging him now. There we go. Right. That should be the correct one. You know, technology can be a bit iffy. If you want to get questions in, yeah, I will have a look now. I've not had any emails, but I will check. If you do want to send them, just send them in the chat. But I think I wanted to ask because there's been a couple of, well, I think we all know the question people are going to ask. Northampton versus Man City would be nice to play at Sixfield Stadium. Hello, Mingy Wong. How the devil are you, my good friend? Hope we're doing well. Welcome, Graeme, to the Mancunian Way. Graeme will be with us in a moment, hopefully. Just making sure I've not missed any messages from him. My hate that Peterborough team bad. Looking forward to the show. Hope you're well, Martin. Hope you are very well, Lee Gates, and I will message you later. Thank you for your very kind message earlier yesterday. Sorry I've not had a chance to come back to you, but I will. Good afternoon, Dash. How the devil are you, my good friend? Yes, Graeme hopefully will be with us in a moment. If you want to ask Graeme questions, please do so with respect, and that goes with everyone else in the chat. Yes, like I said, please be respectful. If you don't agree with anything he says, but remain respectful. I like you long time. Hello, Blue Heart. He's with us. I think we sorted it. Good evening, Graeme. Can you hear us?
Good evening, guys.
Sorry about that. I don't know why you've been sent that link. That's had a glitch out for a moment, so I do apologise. Can you hear us all okay, Graeme? Hear us okay?
You hear yourself, yeah? All good?
Brilliant. First thing is, massive thank you for doing this. I was just explaining to people, I know you've been on Pete's channel, Loaded Mag. And I find you very refreshing and very honest, even though not everyone likes honesty in football fanism, sadly. But I wanted to get you on to ask some questions about Manchester City, if possible. Make sure the volumes are all okay. Let's have a look. Right, okay. I think we're okay now. So Graham's volume is a little bit low. So that's what I was checking whether that was my end or your end. My end or your end?
Oh, sorry. Oops. Low is it? Not much I can do at this end. It's not me alright on these headphones. Let me check.
Right, but we'll try and go as back. I'm not sure how long we got, Graeme. Probably said about 45 minutes. So again, please be respectful. Graeme, I wanted to ask you a question on a lot of our transfers, because I think there's a lot of Manchester City fans who think we don't seem to have done a lot of business this summer, or we've not done a lot of good business this summer, because I think some of the names, and the one that keeps cropping up is a certain right back. Because all the local journalists within Manchester have told everyone that Manchester City are done for the summer and there is no interest anymore in any right back. I know you did a story, was it 10 days ago? So I know I'd mentioned it in Pete's channel about Tino Livramento. And I knew you were the one who said City did still hold an interest in that. Is that still the case, or is that now dead in the water, do you believe, is what the local journalists are saying?
So you broke up there. Who was the player concerning?
Tino Livramento.
It was an opportunist situation. Man City clearly thought there was an opportunity there, and they didn't just make one approach; they made a couple of approaches. Livramento is an outstanding player, and the City saw him someone progressive and someone who could improve their team. And so it does. If you don't ask the question, if you don't buy a raffle ticket, you can't win the raffle. And it was more like that. I don't. Did they think they thought there was a chink of light there? They did, but Newcastle, they're trying not to be a selling club, and they've said no to Livramento, and I do think it will lead to a new contract for Livramento. So, I think City are relatively happy with that. Not happy, I think that's the wrong word. I think City are content with what they've got to right back at the minute. We may see Kuznov play there, Nunez, Lewis. They're okay. It's they're not over the moon. I think even if the right player comes around even deep into August, I think they will look at it. So let's see. I don't think they're done and dusted there. I think the title of Mentor didn't happen, and they will move on.
Okay, so that which leads me nicely on to the next one. Are City only looking at outgoings now more than incomings? Because there's a lot of the fans are very upset at the moment about big up Baz, by the way, oil brother. About, I'm not sure if you've heard this term of the Manchester City unks that has gone around social media, of the Ilkay Gundogans, the Kovacic's, the Bernardos, Was there anyone else that had missed out? I can't. Anyone who's 30 or over now is apparently, he's apparently old yellow and needs to go out the back and be, figuratively shot and sent away. What is it? Because the only people we've kind of heard of at the moment of leaving is Jack Grealish. And I don't know if you want to go through them one by one or go through them as a collective. We might be here a while to go through one by one.
Yeah, not one by one, but Jack Grealish, he's accepting that he's got no future. He's looking at the options, as I've reported today, and you can read on the Twitter that Everton are pushing for him, leading the chase. He's very happy in the Northwest, Jack, as I'm sure you all know. And I think that would suit him. It's whether City can do the deal. I think City are demanding an awful lot of wages at the moment, but these other clubs will wait. City, having seen the deal that City did for Calvin Phillips, we'll get onto him for Ipswich. Then, they're going to have to subsidise his wages massively. Jack Grealish is the highest paid Englishman in the Premier League, and Everton are not going to get anywhere near that. No club is. No club who comes in for him is. Whether it's Tottenham or Newcastle, which I don't think they will, came in for him, etc. A Villa, could he go back to Villa? None of them are getting anywhere near his wages. They're really not. So, but I think he will go. He will go, Jack, and we'll see what transpires. As it stands, Everton are leading that chase.
Mute, Martin.
I realised I was on loan. I was on mute. Do you think it will be a definite loan? Do you think there's anybody out there who might stump up some fee to maybe buy him?
To buy him, no chance. He's got, what is it, 2 years left on his contract?
Yes, 2 years, 300 grand a week.
300 grand a week minimum, by the way. It doesn't include his bonuses and loyalty payments, etc., etc. National insurance. It's an awful lot more than 300 grand basic. It's not possible that anyone can. If a Saudi club came in, but he's got no ambition to go to Saudi Arabia, he's got at least 10 million. What's that? 10 million basic pay. And that's not including transfer fee. He's got, unless they paid him off, he's got no chance of going anywhere permanently. No chance.
Yeah, I've explained this, and paying him off is that, well, I think it's 29 million, maybe pushing 30 million, which is an immediate loss straight away. So I don't think it's the best thing to do. The one today that has upset people was the Mateo Kovacic, because a lot of people thought he would be one to leave. I've had a lot of messages in the last hour or so. Why are we keeping Mateo Kovacic at the football club? Any chance he does leave, or has that ever been on the cards this summer? I know he's been injured and he's recovered from an op, but yeah, Kovacic seems to be the word of the day at the moment.
Wow, okay. I didn't realise how much of an angst there was in the City fan base, I must admit, guys, before coming on. I didn't realise how negative. Yeah. Well, guys, this is the littlest violin in the world. Being a Middlesbrough fan, this is the littlest violin in the world that I'm playing for all you Man City fans right now. So
true.
Kovacic is a world-class midfielder. I think what you saw when he come back in, and he's played some outstanding games. I don't think there is some issues at Man City. I don't particularly think he's that high. I think we will see some other big name departures come in. I'm not ruling out, and the two I'm hearing a bit at the moment. Gundogan and Edison, I think, are the two who could follow Grealish out, most likely to. At this point in time, I think we'll see a few exits. I don't think we'll see many more ins, really, unless something amazing came up. Obviously we're hearing that Barcola might be agitating at PSG. If he came up, does City get involved? You can never rule these things out. you know, if something like that, if something unusual came up that Hugo Viana thought we need to do, but unlikely. You know, did City get involved in the Lucas Paqueta sweepstakes? Possibly. We know it's a player who who loves, but to Kovacic, the point is, I don't really think there's a massive need, seen as a massive need for City to get rid of him. I'll be honest. I think, you know, when he comes in, he does a very good job, and if the biggest issue you've got in that squad is Mateo Kovacic, I think that just sums up what a good squad you've got.
Yeah, and I'm with Sarah. I said, yeah, I'm going to be honest, Graeme. I'm not popular with some City fans at the minute because I'm with you. I think it's like rich man's problems, as I call them at the moment.
Yeah,
You know?
I think he's a quality confirmed Premier League performer. I would have more of a problem with like a Nico Gonzalez sort of thing, where I think he's very improved. I think he's been I've not been very impressed by what he's done. But then again, you've already replaced him with Theo Reinders, which I think will be one of the best Premier League signings of the summer. Outstanding player, and so you papered over that crack already to a certain extent. And so yeah, I think Kovacic. You know, I think he's a fantastic footballer. He really is. I don't think there's an issue there, you know, where, I don't see it with him. I don't see that being an issue at all. You know, if you're 1-0 up, Champions League semi-final, 2 minutes to go, and he's coming on to hold the ball, I don't think there's an issue there. I think I think he offers an awful lot more than some players who might have more of a shelf life at City, to be honest.
Yeah.
Graeme, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. With what you're saying about Gundogan and Ederson, I know a lot of noise we're hearing is from the Turkey area, but it seems like they might struggle with the wages or the fee, because what's happening with Osimhen and Sane. So do you see any money freeing up over on that end to make the deal happen?
They certainly won't struggle with his fees, especially when it comes to Ederson. They've already offered Ederson a contract that would make him the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. So from that point of view, there isn't a chance. There isn't an issue there. Obviously, I think with that, Galatasaray would like him, basically, not a free transfer, but they don't really want to be paying much money for him, which is where City have an issue where, you know, City, well, if we're not going to get anything for him, we'll just keep him. It's fascinating with Ederson. You know, does James Trafford start the season as number one? Does Ederson? I think this is the thing with City. You know, if they're going to start the season with James Trafford as number one, I think you're taking an almighty risk on an unproven goalkeeper who he could. You know, I've been doing my Premier League picks today for TBR football, and I was putting Chelsea fourth, but I said with the paragraph for Chelsea, it was, I think they were goalkeeper short of the title contenders. I think City are in danger of joining that party. I think if you get rid of Ederson, start Trafford, I think you're inviting. I think City are inviting trouble. I'm a Championship watcher. I saw Trafford before. Trafford's a good goalkeeper. He's not a great one. He really, really isn't. He's got an awful lot to learn, and I think if City go into this with Trafford as number one for the season, I'm not having to go at Trafford at all. He's a brilliant young keeper, but you're not going to win the title with James Trafford as number one. I can tell you that now.
Okay. Do you think I'm going to be? I know Graeme, after watching you on other channels, and that's why we've asked you on, because you are honest, and I love it. Do you think Manchester City fans have become a little bit? We got lost in the fog of footballism at the minute? Because I don't know what your view is from the outside, or whether you get responses from City fans. There seems to be this, like I said, everyone who's 30 out and anyone who's 22, and we've bought like Kushinov, Echeverri, Naipan, that they're automatically all going to come in and win us the league again. And is that just expectations, or is it just, I don't know, too much FIFAism? Put the PlayStation down. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you have to. I think there is that. You know, it's the fact you brought Mamouche in January, so you haven't done it this summer. It's like, and Theo Reinders, he's a wonderful player. Is he a sexy signing? You know, these sort of defensive midfielders never are they? But you need them, and I think because City haven't done that much going forward, that yeah, the fan. Yeah, it's a tough one for me to marry up the City fans. Maybe if that's their belief that there's, you know, you are putting together that title contenders again. Not easy, but I don't see the massive issue with these older players, and you do need that mix. And yeah, I think it is a little bit of yeah. It sounds harsh, but some of these City fans just remember the grass isn't always greener.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, and I know on this channel in the community we do talk that, and it's not. I get told I have no standards. I want to win the league. I still think Gundogan and that can do something for a year. I don't know. I'm sort of in between a few things, but you talked about Gundogan and Edison there. And I honestly thought which is good to know, because I thought Gundogan was going to stay 100%, but if it's still maybe an option, which is very intriguing. What about, are they the only surprises you think out, or could there be anybody else you think where just not expected it? And, you know, like a bit like a Julian Alvarez, where it was like, whoa, they weren't expecting it.
There's a few names out there, but you know, I kept coming into the summer. I must admit, I did wonder about Doku at one point. I think I just think he's been such a massive disappointment. I think he came to replace Mahrez, and let's not beat around the bush, boys. He can't lace Mahrez's boots. He really can't. But who can? I'm not having to go at Doku. He is a good player. He's just not a great player. Where Mahrez, he's one of those players where, again, I do think a lot of City fans were guilty of this, where, oh yeah, Mahrez can go, whatever. The grass isn't always greener. And I think, you know, Mahrez was bordering world class. He really was. I loved him as a player. I thought he was great. And to be fair to Doku, whoever was coming in to replace Mahrez had an uphill task. I think he's been pretty poor. I really do. I think he's been bang average. I really do. I think he's still lucky to be there. I do. I think Pep's giving him another season. If there's a season like last year, I think Doku's playing for his City career. I really do. I think he's been a huge.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
he's been a huge disappointment. I think he's, you know, he's like, is he any better than Adama Traore? I don't think he is.
Yeah. I know a lot of people in the fan base have a question over him, and I think a lot of people agree with you. This is will be his make or break year for his City career. But it seems like that's a perfect example, right? I think, and I was going to ask you this, Graeme. Are we seeing like a shift with people now? Because a lot of people are talking about potential. We hear that word all the time. Rather than proven older players, a lot of fans and a lot of clubs seem to be going for potential players that they can develop or hope can reach a certain level. Are you seeing the same thing?
Obviously, the likes of Naipan and stuff, that you are buying potential, you're not buying the finished product. And I think there has to be that blend. You know, you buy the Rangers, who's a complete finished product. You know, you're buying like a Kushinov, who you're buying potential. And it's not his fault he was thrown in at the deep end when he was. You have to have that mix. And the thing I always go on about, guys, and I think it's the most important thing in football, is recruitment. And not just recruitment of players, recruitment of staff. And City, you're going to see that. You know, Hugo Viana, it's a massive task for Hugo Viana to replace Tixi, you know, the best he did in the world. Man City, when they were dominating football, as they did not so long ago, wasn't particular. I said it was 50-50. They had the best team in the world, but they had the best off-field in the world as well. And that was massive. And people, I think, forget that. But, you know, City have got a massive task ahead of him. I think Viana's done a pretty good job so far. I think he's coping well. But, yeah, and I think he's not, you know, you can't rip this team apart too much. And I think Viana's probably leaning on Pep quite a bit at the minute to gauge it. You know, Hugo Viana can't just come in and say, look, this is the squad I'm giving you. He has to work with Pep with it. And, you know, Pep's obviously guiding him as to what he wants and what he doesn't want. So I think you have to respect that. And yeah, and you just, you know, guys, you just have to believe. You just have to believe in what City are doing. You have to give him a chance. So many clubs. I know only City fans care about City. You don't want to hear what other clubs are doing, whatever. But you know, you got to look at it. You can't attack every window like you have. Look at what Liverpool have done. They've had these 3 windows off, and now they're attacking it. And Liverpool are, you know, having the greatest window in Premier League history, no doubt about it. But you know, you have to pick and choose your battles at times. I think that's what City have done this window, and I think they've had a good. I think City have had a very good window.
See, I'm with you and I agree. I think that's the Woody Graham. I think the Liverpool window has come at the wrong time for City fans in respect to last season's performing problems. So, as you know yourself, we had a lot of problems off the field as well as on it. And I think that's coincided with the Club World Cup. And then with Liverpool's window, everyone's just gone into a little bit of panic mode. A little bit.
Yeah, I can understand that, but you know, there's, I think panic's a bit strong. I think you have to believe in Pep and what he's doing, and Pep's playing a major. You know, he's not a smart director. Pep doesn't do that, but you know, he's played a part in this and he's helped shape it. And I think, you know, they've recognised they had an issue in midfield. Rangers has come in. You know, Ruben Diaz is going to sign his new contract, as I wrote about this week. ManCity.news, that, you know, City think Diaz is the best centre half in England. I think they're well within the rights to think that. You know, Nui's come in. You've revitalised that left hand side. You know, Marmoush was brilliant, and he came straight in. Don't forget how good Marmoush was when he came in. And he's had a pre-season with City. Marmoush could be one of the best forwards in England next season, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah. You know, I would, you know, it's going to be, there are frustrations, you know, and like losing James McAtee will be a frustration to City fans. But look, you've got the best young player. Phil Foden's still technically the best English midfielder, one of the best midfielders in world football. He had a horrendous season last season, but you're gonna have to back him to come good. You really are.
Yeah.
You got, you know, don't have this thing. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know, just, you know, you just need City are, you know, City are a bit like. It's just a bit like that fantastic F1 car that just needs fine tuning. You don't need a new engine. You don't need to strip it all out. It just needs a fine tune.
Yeah. And Graeme, I think you already noticed people now are just extremists, right? They go from one end to the next end when it comes to a lot of things. But you brought up a name that we talk about a lot on this channel, McAtee, right? I know, you know, Academy grad, a lot of people want to see him succeed. Where do you think is a good fit for him? And I know the price out there is 30, 35. Do you see that? Do you think that's a good price for him? Do you think that's a little cheap, a little too expensive?
I think City are asking more than that, from what I understand.
It's about 45, roughly.
About 40. They're trying to tell people he's played more first team games, etc. In comparison to Cole Palmer when he left. I don't really think that's a fair comparison, if I'm being honest. But I love James McAtee as a player. But you can understand why, you know, McAtee's leaving because he's rejected the contract. He wants to leave. So I think he will get done for 30, 35. He wants to play number 10, and you know, he's not going to get that chance at City. He's simply not. So it's just strange. McAtee's one who, you know, but hey, if City can allow Cole Palmer to go, they can let anyone go, can't they? So, you know, Palmer, Rodgers, McAtee, you could end up having three of the best cams in the Premier League all being former City players. Because although McAtee, yeah, I still suspect he might go to Germany, but we'll see. We'll see with him. But he will leave. I'll be amazed if he doesn't leave.
Yeah, no, I do think he'll end up going. I think Grealish will go. I don't want to do them one by one, so I'm trying to just make sure I've covered all the bases and that. The youngsters that have come in, Echeverry, Naipan, etc., are they all probably likely to go on loan?
I think the plan is for Naipan to go definitely. Echeverry, yeah, I'm surprised Echeverry hasn't followed Reece to Girona, if I'm being honest. But I think it's a complicated one with Echeverry because it is a World Cup year. He does want to force his way into the squad. If he stays at City, Echeverry, what's he looking at best? Starting a dozen games if he's lucky. Not because of the talent clearly there, but it's just City is it's a hugely impressive squad and it's difficult for any player to get in. But if we hope that Foden goes back to form, Silva plays well, there's probably not going to be much of a run for him. So I think there's a chance that Echeverry does go, and because I think they'll agree to his terms of going because he does want to get in that Argentinian World Cup squad, and then we'll see. I think if Echeverry goes, McAtee, I think it'll have a knock-on effect to someone like Oscar Bob who will stay. Obviously, we know Nico O'Reilly's staying, and Nico O'Reilly's obviously going to push further up the pitch in his natural attacking midfield position. So, yeah, I think that's what happened. Naipan will go. We know Reece has gone. Kushnov will stay. I think Naipan and Echeverry will both go. I think they're assessing those now, and Naipan's got a lot of options. To be fair.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. One thing I do want to ask is, because I know I've had a couple of messages while we've been on air. I know you just put a tweet out about it, by the way, which I was just noticing there. Belabor, Brighton have no interest in giving him over to our neighbours then, which is good. Looking at it.
No, he's got no release clause, and he'll cost no. This is a team who got 115 million for Moses Caicedo. I think Belieber's going to be just as good. It's going to take over 100 million to get him. So if they want to pay over 100 million, they've got a chance.
Good.
Another player, Graeme, and we're trying. Maybe you can tell us this, right, because it's kind of been fan driven, or maybe you can tell us something behind it. In Akanji. I know there's been a lot of skepticism of him in our fan base with last season. Is that a player that could be looking elsewhere, or is he something that's going to stay?
So that again, Ed, I lost you then. You went all crackly.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you just went all crackly there.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just talking about Akanji.
Akanji, right?
Yeah, there's been a lot of
I've heard it could be I've heard he could be on one of the extension lists potentially, Graeme. I don't know if you can confirm or deny that, but I've heard he could be one of the new players getting contracts.
Akanji, he's such a useful player. I don't. Pep loves him. He loves him a lot more than I do. To be honest, it's tough on him. The age that what's he got left in his contract? What's he got?
2 years.
What he's got left in his contract, Akanji, but yeah, 2 years. He's 30. Unlikely, if I'm being honest, but you never know. I don't see him getting a new contract, but Pep likes him. Will he get another year? Possibly. He's one who can fill in it right back again. He's part of that rotation at the back. Solid. I said, doesn't do it for me at all. I think he's way off. I always think he's an accident waiting to happen to her. But hey, Pep knows more about football than me.
Yeah. Any of these contract extensions, because obviously I just want to move on to them because I know the contract extensions have been some that have pleased some and not some others. I know the O'Reilly one was expected. There's the Rodri one. I think there's talk of Foden. There's quite a few extensions coming up, isn't there, Graham? From what I understand.
Possible. I don't think there's any talks of Foden happening just yet. But yeah, but we're in August. You don't need to do them in August, so there's going to be a few players that are playing for the futures. Is Foden one of them? Quite possibly.
Okay. Because one day I know, was it Jack Gorn mentioned it in the local press? Jack Gorn and somebody else, Simon Bajowska, talked about even Rico Lewis getting a new deal, but he's contracted till 2028. Is he on a professional deal now? He's not still on a youth deal, is he? Because someone did ask that. Rico's on a proper full-time deal now, isn't he?
Yeah. He signed a professional deal ages ago. Yeah. He's not on a youth deal. No, he's not on a youth deal. He's not playing for England on a youth deal.
Yeah, I think they were just wondering because he's contracted until 2028. I'm presuming that's just wage increases?
Yeah, and wage increases are built into a lot of these contracts, But obviously Lewis has progressed. What was his last contract a few years ago now? So obviously his status has changed. He's an England national now. So, they will look at, and that's what they promise these players, they will look at these and address them slightly differently. So I think although Lewis does have years left on his deal, I think they will address that because, his standing within the game is sufficiently different now. So it wouldn't surprise me that. And as we know, he's another player who Pep really likes.
Right. I've only got 3 more questions that I want to simply, because one of them you may not be able to answer.
Martin, one sec, Martin. I want to ask Graeme because I heard how he felt about Akanji. Do you put Rico, in your opinion, Graeme? Do you put Rico in the same class as Akanji? Like, Pep likes them, but do you think, from what you see, that he has a long-term future? Just your opinion.
Very different players. Obviously, I see Akanji is a pure centre half. I think he struggles when he's asked to do anything other than play at centre half. Personally, I think Rico Lewis is a fantastic product of the City Academy. Very different. I would keep Rico Lewis at the club for the next 10 years. He can play in a plethora of positions. You need these players. I don't agree with City's format of allowing young players to leave. But again, they would argue that's how they attract them in the first place, maybe. We see Rio Naguma leaving Chelsea to go to Liverpool, and Liverpool, all these big academies lose players, and that's how they work. It doesn't do it for me. But yeah, I think Lewis has more long-term future just purely because of his age as well. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Rico Lewis. I don't see And let a lot of these players who grass is not always greener. A great example of that is Zinchenko. He thought the grass was greener. Gabriel Jesus as well. We've seen a lot of these players where, there's some work like the Sanes and the Alvarez's work, but there's a handful of ones who don't work as well.
Yeah. Well, one you did mention earlier, Nico Gonzalez. That's another one. Really seems to have split the fan base, this one. I know you said he's not impressed you as much. I was at the open training yesterday and I saw Pep spend a real good 10 to 15 minutes with Nico one-on-one.
Because he needed it, that's why.
Yeah, it's something not... Because I've said, this is just my opinion from coaching at a very, very low level, by the way, of... a 6 role under Pep is very different to a 6 role anywhere else. And it looked yesterday as though Nico Gonzalez was struggling with his back to goal. Sorry, his back to the play. So when he's receiving the ball from the goalkeeper, he's got his back to play and then he's got a turn. That seems to be the bit Nico G's struggling with. Is there something not quite clicking with him at the minute? Because I think a lot of fans are seeing we spent 55 in January, and he's just disappeared somewhere.
Did he ever appear? Would be my question. I think he's miles off it. I think he's one who I think City will just accept that they got it wrong, and I think the Theo Rangers signing tells you everything you need to know about Nico Gonzalez. you wouldn't spend all that money on him if Nico Gonzalez had any sort of. He might improve. He might become a player. He might become a pet project, but he's miles off it. Miles off it. For me, he. You know, when you see, I wasn't at the training session exactly, but when you see Rodri and Reinders, they are light years ahead of Nico Gonzalez, light years ahead of him. And City are in the City are the best club. City are the best club side in the world, and they can't afford. Gundogan was. He's clearly he's Gundogan's on a trajectory, a downward trajectory, but he's got that, and he has the right to be that. Nico Gonzalez, you know, and he didn't use history, and it was an opportunity signing by City. The thought, and clearly it just hasn't worked. Somebody and City are in a fortunate position where they can spend 45 million on somebody who doesn't work. But you know, and Tixie and Pep don't get things very wrong very often. You know, they've got this one wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think Neil he's another 8 trying to become a 6.
Yeah, and I think that's the issue we run into when you have a player like Rodri, right? Not a lot of capable 6s coming to your club as a backup option for him. And we're trying to, you know, find that Gundogan type that can play a 6. But Graeme, it seems like you would be more comfortable playing a Reinders at the 6 than a Nico Gonzalez did if Rodri was subbed out or needed a game off.
Oh, of course, Reinders does that. He's done it regularly at Milan. He's done it for the Holland. It's 100. Yeah, Reinders is a different. You can't even talk about him and Gonzalez in the same breath. They're a different caliber of players. They really, really are. I love Reinders. I think he's going to be one of these signings of the season. He's not a sexy signing. I guess the City fan base might not be excited about him, but you really will be because.
Oh, I am.
You know,
I'm over the moon with him.
He's a megastar, and just like Gonzalez, he's a good player. He'll be a good player come off a bench like Nunes. Be 2 very expensive. Players coming off the bench, so be it, I guess. But they'll hurt with PSR coming forward. Them 2.
Yeah. What about? This is honestly one of my final 2 I've got. Well, Calvin Phillips. What has happened? I know he's injured, but what is the plan for him? Because we've loaned him out twice. Is it twice? West Ham and Ipswich. He's obviously recovering from an injury. The rumours are he's not even got a squad number this season, Graeme, coming up. Mm-hmm. Is he just... What's the plan for him? Because from my understanding, he's still got 2-3 years left on his deal on 150 grand a week.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's paid off by the end of August, and I think he'll end up back at Leeds. I think he is one who City will cut ties with, maybe, and they'll just bid him a fond farewell. I don't think he's, you know. I don't agree with. It was an opportunity signing. Clearly, it wasn't a Pep signing. Didn't want him. Didn't use him. Don't really.
I think that was a homegrown signing. Do you think it was a homegrown issue?
Not really, but I don't agree with how he's been treated particularly. But hey, it was his decision to take the move. He shouldn't have done it. He should have gone to maybe Newcastle at the time. But yeah, I think he will end up back at Leeds in the not too distant future. I think City could pay him off.
I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all.
Or he'll be loaned out to Leeds to recover and help recover there because he can play centre half as well. I think it'd be an excellent capture for Leeds, and I think we will see him back at Ellen Road. And I hope we do because I think that's where he needs to be, and I think he'll show again he is a terrific Premier League performer when he's fit.
Yeah. Baz, thank you very much for the $4.99, mate. Appreciate that. 3 Black and White Eyes sponsorship this well. Collaborating this year, get my words out. Thanks again for the lift and your support. Fantastic day. The way Newcastle are going, I would take Grealish on loan. You'll have to be quick.
Not happening.
There you go. Not happening.
Eddie Howe, Graeme. I don't believe Eddie Howe would touch Jack Grealish for the barge pole. Nothing to do with Jack. I just don't think he's a Jack sort of player. And where would he play at Newcastle? Newcastle don't have a number. They don't have a number 10 to fill that role. Like he's not going to play off the left because they've got a Lang. Why would they take Jack Grealish? Don't see it.
Where are we at? I'm going to ask, where are we at with this 115, 130 stuff? Because I don't know if you know, I know, but it's gone mega quiet all of a sudden. Now we're talking about cost of, because I honestly thought, and I don't know what the belief was in the media, that surely this was not going to happen during the season. It looks like we are now going to get the decision during the season.
I don't really think it'll matter because nothing's going to happen to City. So nothing's going to happen to you. You might get a token fine, which for City, hey, if you get fined, you're not going to do points. You're not going to a championship. From everything I'm hearing in football, there's not. I don't think anyone expects City to get any sort of punishment. Obviously, the FA rules are not fit for purpose. That's always been City's viewpoint. The rest of the teams know it. I think there's been some opportunist crowing from other clubs about it, but from what my understanding, nothing is going to happen to City. So, not that I think any of you thought it would from recent times.
Yeah, that's my belief. No, it's just because I think there was, and again, you heard the rumours, even though they had signed NDAs, that there was a lot of. They thought this summer would be the summer when it came out, and it just seems to have gone quieter than any time before. And then the thing today was how much it was costing the lawyers. So that's when I realised that they've run out of news on it at the moment, which leads me to a very good one of the questions from the audience is from Mark. Graeme, I've often wondered how a team leaks the news to all the press at the same time. Now, she don't share any inside, but is it?
Sorry,
is
guys.
It just, so I don't know if you heard that then, Graeme. I often wondered how a team leaks the news to all the press at the same time.
Yeah.
You don't have to share any inside stuff there or any leaks or anything.
Briefings take place from clubs. Clubs have their people who they brief. It's not just a matter of whoever asks the question. Sometimes it is. We see. Obviously, there's preferred outlets sometimes that someone will get the information. Just because someone posts it first on Twitter doesn't mean they've got the information first. And what I will say is, guys, even when I do exclusive, I know that someone else has got the information at the same time. It's not. I try not to, and I'm not saying I've never done this and I never do. I try not to. Oh, I was first and this was first, etc. Because I honestly I try not to. I don't look at other people's social medias too much. It's just, it's how this world operates at the minute, I'm afraid. But clubs brief. Clubs have favoured journalists, of course. There's some clubs I am closer to than others. Of course, there is. It's life. And yeah, it's just how it's very similar to maybe the life of politics where people get briefings and stuff, and it does go on. Everyone wonders how we know that a transfer is happening before the club announces it, and yeah, we have to dig deep and go behind the curtain. Like with that Belieber story tonight, or maybe why we hear links of Tottenham to Savinho. There you go, guys. There's a little link for you. That is something that's come across my radar in the last 48 hours. But yeah, it's just one of those. Yeah, it's one of those, guys. It just you have briefing from certain people, and obviously you get brief from agents, from sporting directors, some chief executives. To these sources, they come from all over football.
Well, someone asked this. How are you close to City, or do you get a lot of City news across your desk? Or
I think it's okay with City. Being a northern journalist helps me a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I do okay with City. City are very good at keeping it in house. To be fair to them, but you know, yeah, I'll let the fans be a judge of that really. But obviously a lot of news comes when it's in terms of players coming in. You know, you're not really relying on the club so much sometimes. You know, it's the intermediaries, it's the agents, it's people setting the deals up, and that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm not totally unhappy with my City record, to be honest. But yeah, they're probably not one of my top three clubs that I get in for. But we try.
yeah. I mean, the one thing I was, because I don't know, we're going to wrap up in a minute, Graham, and I do appreciate your time. Have City changed as a club with the media since these charges, or are they still exactly the same? Because there's this rumor, strong belief of City have not sort of closed ranks a little bit, but they've been a bit more careful because of this 115, 130.
You know, I bet I get. I'm not a financial journal, and I'm pure transfer, so I've never really given much of an opinion on this. I've always been, I guess, I've been fairly pro City when it
Yes,
is.
yeah,
You know, so I guess I haven't really felt the wrath of City much. I must admit, because I'm one of these. I back. You know, if I'd have no problems with the money City have spent and what they've done. So. Um, I guess you have to be a little bit guided at times, and you know, City get an awful lot of stick to do, and does he get the backs up at times? Of course, it's only natural, isn't it? Really, some of the same as what's happened at Newcastle and stuff, and um, you know, some clubs fly under the radar, I guess, and some fans think that as well. Um, but yeah, I don't think it's I don't think City can be faulted for it. I've always found City very, very, very good. But hey, I would. It's one of those, isn't it? If a general gets on well with the club and they're nice to him, it's you're always going to say that, aren't you?
Graham, back to a topic you mentioned earlier about Ederson. If Ederson does stay, that's more likely for Ortega to go, right? I know Nebraska just went to Burnley. Do you have you heard anything about Ortega looking for new clubs?
Yeah, Ortega's been told it can go as well. So I think, you know, if City allow Edison to go, and you know, does that mean Ortega stays? Possibly. I think it's a pretty fluid situation with the keepers. But um, yeah, I think that'll try. Let's see what happens. I think Edison may kick on again this week. We'll see what happens with him. Um,
yeah.
but
It
you
did
know,
seem to go down the tunnel sharpish yesterday.
I don't see him being. I don't see him being a number two to anyone, and so he shouldn't be. You know, it's like he shouldn't be a number two at City. I don't think this is suggesting he will be, but I think, you know, when he's got an offer like he has, he had it last summer from Saudi as well. I think it's an interesting, it's a complicated situation for City. They brought in Trafford, you know, and I don't actually know the answer whether he will be number one or not. I said, you know, I think as I said to you early in the conversation, I think it'd be a massive risk if you go into the season with Trafford as number one. He may develop into that player. He may develop into England's number one, but I think I think it's I think it's a risk that City don't need to take. You know, we're talking, if City are as good as we think they might be next season, you know, Liverpool and Arsenal, you're talking 2 or 3 points over the season, and I think it's just a risk that they don't need to take. But they might.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've got nothing else to ask. I don't know if you have anything, Ed. But I mean, I think there's a couple of them. The only question really people have asked left is,
I don't know. Graham just dropped that Savio nugget, man. A lot of people in the chat are like, "What's going
yeah,
on?" Savio?
There is Savinho has emerged on Tottenham's radar, is the understanding. Um, it's not one. I said it came across my radar 48 hours ago because unlike what some fans think, we don't print every little thing we hear. We really don't. I wouldn't spend much time doing anything else if we printed every rumour we heard. But it came from a good source actually, that one, and it is something that we're probably going to cover on TPR or ManCity.news. We'll be covering the next 48 hours. But I don't see City letting him out, to be honest. But I think it's one of those where an intermediary's got involved and making it out as if Savinho might be available. Obviously, I don't know. I don't see him being available personally, but.
Which I knew someone, by the way, Graeme, would come up with this. Rodrigo, because that's the other one that everyone keeps mentioning. It's our City fan base, Rodrigo.
I've never heard him for City, to be honest. I must admit. I think I've heard when I've been speaking to Real Madrid sources and stuff. City's never really come up in conversation, like Arsenal and Liverpool have and are. And the fact that Andrew Bertis held talks Liverpool have, I don't think City are in the Rodrigo sweepstakes, to be honest, unless they're keeping it very, very quiet. Don't really think that's on their agenda. Could be proved wrong. There's still plenty of time to Rodrigo. Plenty of time. We're seeing what's happening with Rodrigo. His team are assessing what's happening this week. But no, I don't think Rodrigo is someone that they're actively chasing, which probably tells me we're not actively chasing a winger.
Yeah, someone said 100 million to Spurs. That has shocked me a little bit, the Savinho Tottenham one.
Tottenham need a winger. Obviously, be some intrigue to me. He's doing good work. I can't confirm either way whether there's anything from City or Savinho's end. I do doubt it a little bit, but it's a crazy window, guys. So you can't pour cold water on everything straight away. But gone are the days where you could do that,
Yeah. I was going to ask something about this earlier too. Turkey. Did you see Turkey as a good buy for City because of the price, or do you think he can be an X factor for us, or was that you felt like more a panic station buy?
I think it was opportunistic, and I'm not sure, I wouldn't rule out whether you would have done him even if Wirtz had come in anyway. Obviously, losing out to Wirtz was massive. It really was. It worked hard on him, and for good reason. I think Wirtz is one of the best signings in Premier League history. I rate him that highly, guys. I don't want to rub salt in the wound, but he's an absolute genius of a footballer, which I'm sure you're aware of. Cherki was an interesting one. City did an awful lot of work on him in the background. Cherki is undoubtedly one of the more, pound for pound, probably one of the most talented players in Europe, but it's getting out of him. Can Pep do it? He clearly believes he can, otherwise he wouldn't have greenlit his arrival. I do wonder whether we take a season to see the best of Cherki, though. I do love him as a player, but yeah, I think he's a huge talent, and he's one of the most interesting players I follow this season. But we'll see. He's going to have to hit the ground running to have a real impact at City, because they're going to be pushing for titles on everywhere, and they won't have time to be taking risks all over the park.
Yeah, no, I think that's. I mean, that's. Yeah, I mean, because the big one was Gibbs White. Was City ever? Because I got told they were. He thought it was happening, and then just the Cherki stuff appeared.
No, Gibbs White turned City down to go to Tottenham.
Right, so he turned us down.
He did, yeah.
Do you think
that's why City didn't come back in for him.
Right. Do you think that's playing time or just the allure of London?
Probably a bit of playing time and maybe the project, the selling point. Not come and play for Pep doesn't do it for every player. It's and it probably was a bit of playing time, but could Gibbs White see himself in the City system? He saw himself in the Tottenham system, and subsequently the Forest system was better for him for his immediate future going forward. And I don't disagree with him. I'm not sure where Gibbs White would have fitted at City. As well, he was probably looking at, wait a minute, what was if Phil Foden's back to his best next season? What was Silva's back to his best? Then where's Gibbs White going to play?
Yeah, and that's what I've always, I agree with that.
Yeah. Something interesting that happened this summer for me was we were linked to the DM from Club Brugge. And I know Rodri's going to get extended. Do you think it's time for City?
Yes.
Huh? Yeah.
Jashari. Yeah.
Yeah, I know he went to AC, but do you think it's time for City to look for that successor just yet? Because we have Adam Wharton coming up. You have the Bolabas of the world. Do you think it's time for City to look for the successor just yet?
Well, yeah, those players you've named are very different players. So, Adam Wharton and Baleba are two very, very different players. Obviously, Baleba would be more the Rodri type player, and Adam Wharton is the number 6 quarterback, isn't he? He's very different to Rodri in my eyes. But well, you've signed Rangers as well. Not for me, no. It's it's going back to the start of the show, isn't it? It's these ritual problems you've got, isn't it? At City.
Yes,
do we look
yes,
for Rodgers to play? So, guys, come on. I'm used to being on the Newcastle show where they literally are crying on the show when I'm breaking the news to them. It's like, you guys, are we getting Rodgers replacement? Oh no, are we giving new contracts to Rico Lewis? And oh no, what are we going to do with Marmoush and Haaland together? Come on, guys. No wonder City get a lack of sympathy at times. Come on.
Yeah, there is I don't know how to put it. There is. I was talking to an Arsenal friend of mine, and he was like, I went, they're moaning because they've had a season without a title. He went, season without a title? I've had 21 years without a title.
Exactly, guys. You're going to start moaning to me about the seats and the new seat colours in the expansion. Do you know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah, that was a bit crazy. I'm not going to lie at the moment, and I get it because. Do you know what I think it is, Graeme? I think people just got too used to the success. I think they got too used to the success.
I think it's. I said it's not broken. It just needs a tweaking. We'll see this is going to be an amazing Premier League season, and City are going to be right in the mix. All City need, and I think City are under the radar, but you've got two of the best players in the world in Haaland and Foden. If them two both had 6 out of 10, them two both had 6 out of 10 season. If them two are back to 8, 9 out of 10 seasons, you'll probably win the league. If them two are back to where they should be, and what they're capable of, then you'll be right up there with Liverpool. But I'm biased because I think Phil Foden's the best English player there is, and Haaland's as good as anyone. So I'm slightly biased there. But
yeah, I don't understand the Isak thing, Graeme, because I was talking to someone and I went, I get you worried about Isak, but you've forgotten we've got Erling Haaland. He's swapping.
What's the Isak thing? Oh, don't tell me City fans wanted to sign Isak.
Yeah, because they don't want Isak. They've got fearful because Liverpool are getting Isak. So, well, City have got Haaland. They've stopped looking at who we've got and started focusing on who everyone else has got.
Yeah.
I know we're running long here, but Graeme, for this right back, have you heard the name Vanderson linked to us, or any other right back in Europe?
Who?
Vanderson at Monaco.
Vanderson at Monaco.
Yeah,
but that's not how City play. When have you ever with City? When have you ever played with two attacking fullback, two wing back sort of things? Even when Cancelo was there, he was inverted, wasn't he? When have you ever had? And you can correct me if I'm wrong. When have you had two fullbacks bombing down each flank at the same time? It's very, very rare under Pep, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I think Vanderson is a good player. He's a very good player, but no, I don't think. I think in terms of you were looking at the Juventus boys, Cambiato and Savono. They suited City because they were big big, can play centre half and stuff. You could see they were a fit to what Pep does. Pep's not going to suddenly change his style of play.
Well, that's Graham. That's another topic.
They're not gonna reinvent. You're not gonna reinvent the wheel. And if you're about to tell me that City fans are questioning Pep now, then we're gonna get angry.
No, they're not questioning Pep. They're questioning, do we need to change it up? Because a lot of our fan base are kind of stuck in last season in that bad stretch.
What do you mean it changed up from what, Pep Guardiola?
No, not Pep Guardiola. The system per se. The system.
No, say it as it is, Ed. What a lot of fans do.
No, because you're gonna think Graham's gonna walk away from here thinking we're spoiled. And
no, listen. I've had these debates where I get told no standards. Okay, what it is, Graeme, because I'm in my 40s and I'm a main road wanker.
I remember you signing Jamie Pollock, a Middlesbrough legend.
That's what I mean, but I get told I'm wrong for saying that, so I go quiet now.
All I'd say to any Man City fan who questions Pep Guardiola in any way, shape or form, take a look down the road at the Red Half. See what happened there when they lost their iconic manager. And they're as far away from the title as they ever have been in our history, in our lifetime. I think they're actually starting to get it right this season. I'm flabbergasted. If Pep Guardiola came on tonight and said he wanted to sign Claire Baldwin and play him centre forward instead of Haaland, don't question him. Just say yes, Pep. That's all you need to do.
But you know what you get told, Graeme? Is Pep Guardiola bigger than the football club? That's the question I get told back. So
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't know what to say to that guy. As I said, the grass is, it comes that is not greener. And Pep will go at some point, guys. And you have to believe in Hugo Viana. But whilst Pep wants to be at Manchester City, and Pep isn't quite suffering these Arsene Wenger situations and stuff, and last season, if you have 2 seasons like last season, perhaps we might have this conversation. But I think the fact that Haaland is committed to Pep, and this City team that's coming in, it's not a rebuild. It's not what Fergie used to do and have to strip down the team every 5 years. That's not what you've got here. You've lost De Bruyne, you've lost what else? You've lost Kyle Walker. Yeah, but you need to do this. I think you should have stripped it down more. I think you should have moved on from Akanji and John Stones, etc. I said
some, Mark. I don't say I'm not giving anyone a bad name. I don't mean anyone like that, Mark. Whoa, people know, Mark. I don't mean no. I'm one of them. It's people's opinions, and I do find
and there will be that. We live in the Twitterverse, and I can respect some City fans who do have that, and I'm from the same area as you. Where we've got with some Middlesbrough fans who only knew the Premier League in the same sort of respect, where they don't remember the days of third tier football sort of thing, and you just have to. I remember my Middlesbrough days when there was fans moaning about Steve McLaren playing boring football. The fact we finished, obviously, when we beat Man City to 7th spot back in the day, you remember, when we got the better of you at the Etihad with Matt Schwartz's brilliant save.
Everyone in this channel and this chat are very sensible Blues, and we are.
Yeah, so
we are very sensible.
It's one of those. Let's see what happens next season. I think City. Are they making some? Is there some issues with the team? I'm not sure. Obviously, the goalkeeper I worry about, but I think Nuri's a breath of fresh air. I really do. I think Mamouche has added that extra something to the squad. I do still think you haven't replaced Riyad Mahrez. I do still think that. I think Doku is an inferior replacement pairing into Mahrez. But you know, who I still don't think you've ever replaced Mahrez, and I still think allowing Alvarez out the door last season was a huge mistake, massive mistake. But obviously you've covered that now with you've covered that with Marmoush now, who is slightly different, but every bit as good as Alvarez. I think Marmoush is a superstar, I really do. So if we're sitting here now, if we're talking again in Easter time and City about to win the title again, it wouldn't surprise me. It will if you got James Trafford's number. It will if you got James Trafford's number one. But hey, I'm willing to be surprised.
Well, I think he'll prove a lot wrong. And I'm excited for it. Anyway, I just want to say massive thank you to Graeme for coming on. Really do appreciate that. And thank you for giving up your time. Really do appreciate that. And yeah, I thought it'd be something different from you because I know you're doing a lot of Newcastle stuff at the minute and a lot of
crying over there, Martin. A lot of crying.
Yeah, I feel like you're on the grind when you're on the Newcastle shows, Graeme. Sometimes. Because I know they're not very happy at the minute, and I get it.
I just like to go on there and say, well, just to say I told you so. You know, I told them about Isaac, didn't I, leaving, and that's what I said. And you know, and when James Trafford's a huge mistake, I'll come back on here, guys, and say I told you so as well.
No, and you're always welcome back, mate. Appreciate that, Graeme, and apologies for the confusion at the beginning. Everyone, by the way, if you're not following Graeme Bailey, you should be. His links are in the description. Does some amazing stuff. And what I like about Graeme is may not give you what you want to hear, but he'll give you the truth. That's the most important thing. You can sugarcoat and lie and make you smile, but it's not the truth. Always remember that. But thank you, Graeme. Appreciate that, mate.
Anytime, guys.
Thank you so much. Right, we're going to stay on board for about 2 minutes while I'll go through what we're doing over the next sort of few couple of days with Ed. So look, last few things. Don't think I've missed anything. Make sure I'm just in the super chats. No, that's it. Right, we'll be live tomorrow 9:30 with Thursday Night Chat, where we're going to talk all about our Manchester City ready for the new season. We'll see. I still think we'll win the league. Please smash those likes on the way out. Show a lot of love, like I said, to Graeme, to Ed, who's now part of the channel. Just got something to show everyone just before I go. You're going to love this, everyone. Wait till you see this little beauty that I put together. Where is it? Where is it? I haven't put the faces on yet because I'm still waiting to get clarification of one person.
Oh, you put I know what Martin's about to show.
I just need to put the clarification on. Where is it? Here we go. What I've been working on. This is starting next Wednesday. So this time next week, 11 p.m. There you go. Stateside Blues, episode 1 will begin. Look at that. Proud of that one.
No, that's good, man. That's good.
So there you go. Looking forward to that. Anyway, we'll see you all tomorrow at 9:30. Graeme's been amazing. You've been amazing. Take care. Ed, thank you for joining us. And we'll see you all in the next one. As always, up the Blues.
Yes.